Good evening, everyone. I'm Carla Williams Scott, Director of the City of Columbus Department of Neighborhoods, and I appreciate the opportunity to be with you as we celebrate our 38th year of Pride in the City of Columbus. Thank you to Mayor Ginther, Council President Hardin, Auditor Kilgore, Community Relations Commission Chair Chris Kozad, Stonewall Columbus Executive Director AJ Casey, the members of the Columbus Gay Men's Chorus, and Sister Ngoma, drummers joining us this evening. Let's give them a round of applause. I would also like to take this opportunity to recognize some of our other elected officials that are here with us this evening. Franklin County Auditor Michael Stenziano. Saw you, my friend. He's hiding behind the camera. City Council Member Shayla Favor. City Council Member Mitch Brown. And Columbus City Council Member Emmanuel Remy. Thank you all for being with us this evening. I would also like to thank our sponsors, Lowe's, Prism, and True Media Group. And I would also, at the beginning, like to thank our sign language interpreter, Christy Bradley. We have an excellent program planned for you tonight. We will recognize a distinguished leader with our Shellenberger Illuminator Award and light City Hall with pride colors, making it crystal clear to everyone that Columbus is an open and welcoming community. This year marks the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall riots. Standing among so many community leaders, it is clear that significant progress has been made over the past 50 years. It is heartwarming to know that there are so many in our city who are working in common cause every day to combat discrimination and ensure equal rights for all. While progress has been made, there is still a lot of work to be done. It is now my pleasure to introduce a leader who is deeply committed to making sure that Columbus is not only America's opportunity city, but America's equal opportunity city. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Andrew J. Ginther to the podium.
Thank you. What a great night in our wonderful city. A very special night for us to recognize a great legend in our community that has done so much to make us more smart and open and welcoming to the best and the brightest around the world. Steve Shellabarger, thank you. When we describe Columbus, we use words like open, inclusive. In Columbus, you can be who you are and succeed on your own terms. The same couldn't have been said 50 years ago. As this city headed into the 1970s, gays and lesbians had no legal protections against discrimination in employment, housing, or public accommodations. Because of great leadership and the activism here tonight, and that we'll see all week and celebrate throughout the year, that is no longer true. In 1974, all the way back in 1974, Columbus City Council adopted an ordinance that for the first time extended protections against discrimination in housing in public accommodations based on sexual orientation. And in 1982, Stonewall held its first Pride Parade in Columbus. 850 people attended. There will be 500,000 here on Saturday. In 2012, the City of Columbus established a domestic partnership registry. And finally, the nation caught up with Columbus when the Supreme Court decided in 2015 that couples could marry who they loved, no matter what. We've made great progress in truly becoming an inclusive city. It is not by sheer luck that these changes happen. It is because of all the people who fight for equality, those with us tonight, and those that risked it all to move us forward as a community. And we're just getting started. I've placed a high standard for the role of diversity and inclusion at the City of Columbus, and know that that extends to the LGBTQ community. Because we all know we cannot become America's opportunity city if we don't first become America's equal opportunity city. There are some in our state that may tear down and attack the likes of the person that we're going to honor here tonight with our Grand Illumination Award. There are some in very high, powerful places in state government that use their offices to threaten and intimidate and demean. That's not how we roll in Columbus. We lift up champions who represent the best in us, and we do not shy away from them. Because on Friday at 3 o'clock, we're going to name a street after our honoree, our Grand Illuminator awardee tonight. That the moral arc of the universe is long, but as we learn more and more every day, it's difficult, it's long, it's painful, but it always, always, always bends towards justice. As President Barack Obama said, when all Americans are treated as equal, no matter who they are and whom they love, we reflect that more perfect union that Lincoln sought, and we are all more free. Happy Pride, everybody.
Thank you, Mayor. Our next speaker has helped us to ban conversion therapy in Columbus, ensured resources are available to support homeless LGBTQ youth, and worked to increase the city's HRC Municipal Equality Index score to a perfect 100. Please join me in welcoming our city's first openly LGBTQ City Council member, City Council President Shannon Hardin.
Happy Pride, Columbus.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride, Columbus.
Happy Pride.
So really quick, would you show me your hands if you were here for our very first lighting of City Hall? Look around. I think it's really important to show how far we've come in a few short years, that we celebrate Pride at City Hall like this now with this type of showing. Let's give a round of applause for everybody who came out tonight to celebrate diversity and inclusion. Can you hear me, guys? Yes. All right. I want to thank Director Carla Williams Scott for her team's effort in pulling this together. Certainly, let's celebrate our mayor. We didn't get this far as a community without allies like our mayor, Andrew J. Ginther. I made the joke this weekend speaking at an event, and it's not a joke, but the way that you stay council president is by shouting out your council members when they come out to amazing events. So would you help me recognize my council members? Councilmember Shayla Favors, Councilmember Emmanuel Remy, and Councilmember Mitch Brown. Tonight, we have the privilege of coming together to celebrate our city's LGBTQI community. That's a privilege we didn't always have. It's important to acknowledge that if not for the sweat and the blood of those who came before us, we would not be able to be here this evening. It's fitting that we have the Ohio history connection with us tonight to help us connect folks back to that history. I recognize that for each and every day, that history each and every day, the only way that I am able to be here today as the first openly gay council president is because Mary Jo Hudson served as the first openly gay council member. We're only able to be here because community leaders came before us to organize around issues like HIV and AIDS. They organized on anti-discrimination bills and marriage equality. We're only able to be here this evening to rename Broad Street Columbus Pride Way 2019 and light the building that represents city government in rainbow colors because of the legwork of those who came before us. And when I think about where we stand as a community, I feel both grateful and determined. Grateful for those who came before us, for those who blazed the trail. When in Columbus, it wasn't so easy to be open and proud. But I'm also determined because everyone here knows that we still have a long, long way to go. But I know this community, and I know that it isn't one person's responsibility. It's all of our responsibility. So that in 30 years, when I'm sitting out in these, I'll be rolled up in these seats. We'll be hearing from a trans council president, and we'll be celebrating how far we've come. Let's all have a happy and a safe pride. Let's have a happy and a safe pride. We've come a long ways, but we still know that we have a long ways to go. God bless.
Thank you, Council President Hardin. It is now my pleasure to introduce the City of Columbus's first female auditor and my friend and our first openly LGBTQ leader of an executive branch in our community. Please join me in welcoming to the podium Auditor Megan Kilgore.
Good evening. I am so pleased to be here tonight to kick off Pride Week and celebrate someone truly, truly special, Andrew Levitt and the West family. The Dispatch acknowledged in today's editorial that Council President Shannon Hardin and I are first Council President to be elected as an out man, first auditor, and I truly hope this time next year and the year after that we're no longer using the words first or even second. I'm kind of hoping that, Council President, we get to put those monikers to bed and pave the way for the next generation of leadership. And that's happening especially in our suburbs right now, which is really special to see. So tonight, I really believe the spirit of a city lies in its people, and our people are remarkable. And these individuals who have led our community to great equality well before the years of Mayor Ginther or Council President Hardin or myself. We've had community leaders in our presence who have set the path for our city's progressiveness and our equality and our good common sense values for many, many years. So I want to share a little story. Washington Gladden, I'm sure several of you are familiar with. So let's go back a few years. When Washington Gladden, Reverend Washington Gladden, arrived in Columbus in the 1800s, he found a city of about 53,000 people. A few nice streets, a city of great potential, and a lot of people who were seen as the other by polite society. Columbus was on the verge of the Gilded Age, which sounds romantic, and it was, but only for a few of the populations in Columbus at the time, the wealthy, the soon-to-be wealthy, the soon-to-marry someone wealthy, and then the white guys. Most others were, in fact, the other. They were overlooked or blatantly ignored. They included the Civil War widows and orphans, African American men, young immigrant girls, the women and children who were frequently trafficked, industrial workers, women whose children had no legally acknowledged father, common laborers, the poor and the children of the poor, racially mixed families, and those in the twilight world of sexual preference not spoken of in polite society. Yes, we were the others, and we were seen as part of a society often labeled as criminal or suspected of being criminal. All of us, the others, had been caught in the rapid changes of society and often left as the most discarded by industrialization, urbanization, and the racial segregation of the post-Reconstruction era. From the idyllic rhetoric of abolition, Ohio and Columbus faced polarized prejudices, extreme segregation, and needs, which outstripped what local charities and others tried to provide. Fortunately, those others had a spokesperson, and more importantly, a neighbor, Reverend Washington Gladden, whose first congregational church was a neighbor to one of Columbus's most storied neighborhoods that stretched behind Broad Street, along Long Street, and up Cleveland Avenue to Fort Hayes, the Badlands, as it was called, where the others, the families trying to do their best, the vice districts, and us melded together. Gladden was one of the best-known originators of the social gospel, an attempt to face the needs of neighbors by awakening a moral conscience in others, not necessarily a Christian moral conscience, but the inner conscience, the good of each person. Gladden fought for equal pay for women in the 1870s and into the 20th century. He fought anti-Catholicism, anti-Semitism, advocated for eliminating the word white from the Ohio Constitution. He advocated for the right of women to vote. Some of those letters are actually in my office right now, if you would like to pop in and see them. We gave women the right to vote years before we earned it nationally. That's something very special about Columbus. And Gladden spoke on behalf of all of us, the others, the men and women who chose to love who they loved, no matter what. Gladden corresponded with princes and presidents, preached for almost 60 years, and he held almost 40 honorary degrees. How did he do this? He almost never spoke of the word equality. Why speak of it as if it were a state to be achieved, he said. It would always be with us. All of us were created equal. The realization of equality would be in constant motion, working to make it happen in all ways, for all people, in all circumstances. Near the end of Gladden's life, he wrote in his recollections that there was only one thing important to achieving success in equity, and that is the friendship of community. A message that has echoed through several generations to Andrew, internationally known as Nina West now, and the West family, who have given their time, their talent, and absolutely their personal profits to the great LGBTQ community here in Columbus, lifting the lives of our youth, our families, and all of our residents. Again, the spirit of our city lies in its people. Stonewall, at this 50 years celebratory mark, is important because it is indeed about all of us, all of the people. And thanks to the like of Chris Kozad and Gloria, and certainly Steve Shellabarger and Lynn Greer and Kim Jacobs and Mary Jo Hudson, Council President Shannon Hardin, and the other many, many men and women who are here with us tonight and in spirit. They are carrying forward Reverend Washington Gladden's idea of equality. Columbus, thank you so much for being here tonight. There's no other city in America who quite has what we have right now. Let's have a spectacular pride and enjoy.
Thank you, Auditor Kilgore. For nearly 40 years, Stonewall Columbus has been working to increase visibility, inclusion, and connection for the LGBTQ community. They are an important partner with us in the city of Columbus, and we're pleased to have tonight with us Executive Director A.J. Casey this evening. Please join me in welcoming Director Casey to the podium.
Good evening, Columbus. This is my first time getting the privilege of addressing you as a city, and to Mayor Ginther and Council President Hardin and Madam Kilgore and Steve Shellabarger and all the friends of Stonewall Columbus and everybody here. I see you, council members back there, forgive me. As I'm standing here, I thought it was the sunset, but it's a light in my face. But I had this really poetic, in the setting sun. It occurred to me as I was sitting there, as we're preparing to present the Illuminator Award, just how important illumination is, how important light is. God's self said, "Let there be light." Back in 1999, I was privileged to be a part of the fundraising team that built the National Underground Railroad Freedom Center on the banks of the Ohio River in Cincinnati. And in the midst of that campaign, it was clear that during the horrible days of slavery, people who were escaping that horrible institution would look for places with lights in the window, just a candle, lighting the way for them, showing them the way to safety, showing them the way to freedom. And tonight, as we begin to light this State House with the lights of the LGBTQ pride flag, it occurs to me again that these lights illuminate the way to safety, illuminate the way to freedom. And this assembled crowd, all of us standing as the light, for the light, and in the light. So tonight, as we light this building, I just want to thank all of us who consistently and continuously, both now and forever into the future, stand as those illuminators. Because it's not just about the pretty rainbow colors. It's not just about a big old parade and a big old festival. It is about us standing and being the light that is the pathway to freedom, that is the pathway to safety. And I thank all of us, all of you leaders who have made Columbus that light. And tonight, as we light these beautiful lights, and I understand we have new ones this year, let us keep in mind that on Saturday, just a few days from now, we have signed up well over 12,000 people to march with us in solidarity in the largest pride celebration in this region. 12,000 souls strong. Last year we had 8,000 that marched in this celebration. This year we have 12, and that is due in no small part to the participation of Nina West, Andrew Levitt. I just want to say that we are a community. We are that light that leads to safety and freedom. And I stand with Nina. And I love that Nina says, go big, be kind, go west. Thank you all so much for being here tonight and celebrating this amazing occasion with all of us. And thank you for being the light.
Thank you, Director Casey. Our next speaker is an important partner of mine in the work that we do every day in the Department of Neighborhoods. This person was also one of the first individuals to call and welcome me back to the city of Columbus. I'm grateful for her recent efforts to lead the Community Relations Commission through a process to enhance how we investigate discrimination complaints. It is exciting to share with you that the rules allowing the new complaint process have just become official today. I encourage everyone to visit the Department of Neighborhood's website and to learn how to help us spread this word. Please join me in welcoming my friend Chris Crozad and Chair of the Community Relations Commission to the podium.
Surprise, surprise! I did not know it was official. That's all right, I'm used to being in the dark. Thank you all for being here and welcome. Tonight we are here to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall riots. But we're here for so much more. But first, let's start with a little history. June 28th, 1969, 3 days and 3 nights of riots were kicked off by a bunch of butch lesbians, drag queens, trans folk, and people of color who had had enough and fought back against the brutality of the New York Police Department. As an aside note, just in case you didn't hear, James O'Neill, the New York City Police Commissioner, just this week apologized for the first time ever for the discriminatory and oppressive actions of New York Police Department. June 12th, 2016, 3 years ago, as we stood here illuminating City Hall, we mourned the loss of 49 people murdered and 53 more wounded in the Pulse nightclub massacre, the deadliest mass shooting incident in the country at that time. I'm a bit of a history geek. I believe passionately that we must know our history and that we must learn from our history, or we are destined to repeat the mistakes of the past. We have to teach the next generation what we have done and what we have learned as they carry the torch forward. I'm particularly pleased tonight to see Go High and the Ohio History Connection here talking about LGBT history in Central Ohio. But I want to talk for a few minutes tonight about our history before Stonewall. Megan, I loved what you said. It was a perfect lead-in to yet another history lesson. Most of us know the story of the Pink Triangle, now a symbol of pride that was used to mark gay men interned in concentration camps and murdered in large numbers by Hitler and the Nazi regime. Similarly, the Black Triangle, now a sign of lesbian pride, was a badge of shame used to identify lesbians in those same camps. Bigotry and hatred are universal. Bigots are equal opportunity haters. Not unlike the Star of David, the Pink Triangle and the Black Triangle marked us to be murdered in the Holocaust. But it wasn't all overseas. Likewise, in our own country, right alongside the Red Scare, the witch hunt against communism led by Senator Joseph McCarthy in the 50s, there was a marked attack on gay men and lesbians that also came to be known as the Lavender Scare. April 27th, 1953. I wasn't even born yet. Dwight Eisenhower, in one of the first executive orders of his new presidency, banned gay men and lesbians from working in any agency of the federal government. We were deemed a threat to national security, in part because we were susceptible to blackmail. Part of that executive order also included a call for government contractors to have that same policy in place. He also encouraged our overseas allies and other foreign nations to conduct similar bans and purges in their country. With that order in 1953 began a purge of U.S. government employees, largely in private and out of the public eye. Numbers are difficult to confirm because of that secrecy, but estimates range between 5,000 and 10,000 people were questioned without being allowed an attorney, lost their jobs, were forced to testify against their friends, and to turn others in the hopes that they might get to keep their jobs. Lives were destroyed. Many of them who were purged committed suicide. They lost everything. It was not until 1995 that President Bill Clinton rescinded that executive order, 42 years after it was issued. Now it is June 2019. Already, this Pride Month, we have had 3 major city prides marred by violence. Capital City Pride in Washington, D.C., a man with a gun was sighted. Rumors of gunshots fired, although that proved not to be true, caused a widespread panic. 7 people had to be transported to the hospital. Numerous others were treated at the scene in the stampede that followed that panic. Motor City Pride, Detroit, Michigan, that same weekend, armed members of the National Socialist Movement, white nationalists, neo-Nazis, again, bigots don't discriminate, marched through Pride activities taunting and menacing, destroying rainbow flags, Israeli flags. It should be noted that the Southern Poverty Law Center identifies the National Socialist Movement as one of the largest hate groups in the country, especially known for provocative protests and their tendency towards violence. Fortunately, no injuries were reported. New Orleans Pride, that same weekend, a white man, an outspoken open carry advocate with a significant record, was arrested with both handguns and an assault rifle near Pride festivities in the French Quarter. Again, no shots were fired, no injuries were reported. That's 3 near misses this week, this year, this Pride season. Right here in Ohio, hate continues to raise its ugly head. 2 drag-themed events were canceled or moved because of threats and homophobia. The Delaware County Library Drag 101 event had to be moved. I must say that the publicity resulted in a much more successful event. Likewise, the Licking County Library in Newark had a drag makeup event that was also canceled because of pressure. The Speaker of the Ohio House of Representatives, Larry Householder, put his own bigotry in writing in public to respond to these 2 events. That political overreach is an outrage to me. We think of Pride as a celebration, and it is, but it is so much more. Pride is a political statement that we have the right to live and love openly and safely. Pride is a civil rights movement. While the city of Columbus offers sweeping protections within our city limits, we are not protected in the state of Ohio. We are not protected at the federal level, with a couple of minor exceptions. We must fight for ourselves and our rights. No one is going to give us our rights. We have to demand them. Pride is self-preservation. Suicide, mental health issues, substance abuse, HIV and AIDS, and violence are killing us. They are killing our young people. They are killing our trans sisters of color. They are devastating our community. We have to take care of our own and of each other. Pride is remembering our past, honoring those who went before, remembering our history, and those on whose shoulders we now stand in our reach for equality. Know your history. Pride is our vision of our future, where bigotry and hatred are no longer acceptable against anyone, where our leaders do not use us as political pawns in their thirst for power, where we join hands across our differences and work together for our common goals, where pride can truly be a celebration not only of who we are, but of how we got here. Thank you all, and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you, Chris. And now I would like to invite all of our speakers to return to the podium for the presentation of the Shellenberger Illuminator Award.
Tonight I have the pleasure of presenting the 4th annual Steven Shellabarger Illuminator Award. The Illuminator Award was created to recognize an individual within the Columbus community who has demonstrated outstanding initiative to promote LGBTQI rights, and in doing so, has created a more inclusive Columbus. Past recipients include Ms. Gloria McCauley, who is here, Miss Linda Schuler, who's here, Mr. John Latham, who is here. Where's John at? There he is. Mr. Scott Shopper. Let's recognize Scott, yeah. And of course, our own Mr. Steve Shallenberger. Actually, would you come up and join us, Mr. Shallenberger? This year we had a lot of great candidates. However, one individual rose to the top. I can say without exaggeration that we received dozens, literally dozens, of nominations for this community leader. It's someone who we all have known for years, but who has taken their talents to the national stage. I'm proud to announce and to celebrate this year's Steven Shellabarger Illuminator Award goes to Mr. Andrew Levitt, aka Miss Nina West. And while the rest of the country is just finding out about Andrew, we've known for years that he's a star. Andrew has been a tremendous advocate and fundraiser for the LGBTQ community. Andrew has raised more than $2 million to support organizations like Kaleidoscope, like Equitas, and like ACLU. Over the past decade and a half, Andrew has created a character who we all love and feel connected to. On the national stage, Andrew has been the best representative Columbus could ever ask for. I'm so proud Columbus now has the opportunity to share Andrew's gift and allow him to leverage his work to benefit even more folks in our community. To accept this award on behalf of Andrew, I'd like to welcome to the podium all the members of the West family that are here tonight. Mr. Chris, thank you so much.
Well, hello, everyone. I apologize. I sound a little like Harvey Fierstein right now. But for those of you that don't know, my name is Chris Acquisi, and I'm the character of Virginia West. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I don't really have anything prepared, but just to tell you a little bit about the history I've had with Andrew. I met Andrew 22 years ago when he was at Denison University, and he was just a little gay boy trying to find his way. And I remember he came up to me at the old Union Station Cafe, and he said, "You're going to be my drag mom." I said, "All right, let's do it." And the rest was history, and to this day, we've remained best friends. He's my partner in crime, as we like to say, and I'm so incredibly honored to stand up here and receive this award for him because there's nobody else that is more deserving in this city. He continues to fight not just locally, but nationally for everybody in our community, and that is what our West family kind of means, is to give those a voice who do not have a voice. And we always say we are activists first, and we are entertainers second. So thank you so much on behalf of Andrew and the West family. We're so appreciative, and we love Columbus. Happy Pride, everybody.
Thank you. Can we give Andrew another round of applause? This evening, we appreciate the Columbus Gay Men's Chorus for joining. Oh, I'm sorry. No. Didn't know we had a video. Surprise! Surprise!
Hello, Columbus. My name is Andrew Levitt, aka Nina West, as you probably know. Thank you so much for this tremendous honor and this humbling evening kicking off Columbus Pride. Thank you to Mayor Andy Ginther and to Council President Shannon Hardin for your friendship and leadership and guidance, especially for our LGBTQIA community. I'm so excited to be a tremendous and outspoken representative for the people of Columbus, Ohio. And I cannot thank you enough for honoring me. I am so sorry I'm not there tonight. I wish I was. Unfortunately, work is calling and duty is calling, and I'm trying to take over the world and represent Columbus the best I can. But tonight, in my stead, I have my best friends, Virginia West, Chris Acquisi, and Patricia Taylor, to speak on my behalf. I cannot thank you enough for this honor. I love you so much, and I'll see everybody this weekend. Happy Pride, Columbus. Now, go big, be kind, and go West. I love you.
Thank you, sir.
You want to sit down?
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Andrew. We appreciate the Columbus Gay Men's Chorus for joining us this evening. They will be performing a musical selection. When the choir's finished, I would ask all our speakers to return to the podium for the official countdown to illuminate City Hall.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to mention the song we're doing is We Shall Overcome. It is a song that was actually sung at the beginning of the riots to get everybody to come together. So we're honored to do this to you for you tonight.
Oh, deep in my
Thank you. Can we give the chorus another round of applause? That was awesome. And now the moment we've all been waiting for. If my speakers could come up to the podium, and we will do our countdown before the lights come on.
Mr. Latham, all past recipients of the Shallenberger Award. Come on, put your name with me.
Where's Linda? Come on up here, Linda. Don't try to hide back there.
You got better help.
Let's light this up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy Pride! Happy Pride! Anything else? Thank you for joining us tonight, and let's come out in great numbers all this week and on Saturday. Make sure that everyone around this state and this country and this world know that we are better, stronger, and safer together. Happy Pride, everybody.